But I'd like to take you through some work today on decimals with hundredths. Okay, so if we look at the first part A here, we've got some numbers with two digits after the decimal point. Now, if we were to write that out, what does that mean? So you've got, let's try the pen, shall we? Not the rubber. So we've got units, and then we've got tenths so far. So let's say we had 0.2. Well, that would be equivalent to 2 tenths, okay? Now, if we add in the hundredths, if we put in a 0 there, then it's still really 0.2, but we could read as 0.20. That would be equivalent to 20 over 100, but they're actually exactly the same amount. These zeros could be cancelled, which gives us 2 tenths, okay? Or they can be left there, giving us 20 hundredths, right? So I'll just take them away for the moment. Now, if we go back a stage and get rid of all of this, there we are, and we come back to here. Now, if we look at what we've got on number 1, it says 0.25. So we put our hundredths in. So there's your 0.25. So this actually just gives us 25 over 100. So 0.25 is 25 over 100. So 0.17 would give us 17 over 100. 17 parts of 100. Once you get as far as 99 parts over 100, so let's have a look at that, things get quite interesting. So 0.99 would give us 99 over 100. But if we added 100th more, we would have, of course, 100 over 100, okay? Which would give us, and make a little bit of space here, which would give us, of course, decimal point 1.00, which is one whole one and nothing left over, okay? So your job on part A is just to convert those decimals into hundredths, okay? Now when you look at part B, we're going to do the opposite. So let's make some space here. Let's get rid of all of this. Now if you notice, we've got the numbers here written already as hundredths. So if we go back a stage, okay, I'll make it larger and make it again. Okay, so if we take, for instance, number 1, we've got 35 over 100. Okay, 35 over 100. If we then put in our units, our tenths, our hundredths, the decimal point in ready. Well, we don't have any whole ones. There's absolutely nothing there. That's blank. So we leave the units as a 0 to show there's nothing there. And 35 over 100 means we've got 35 hundredths. So it's 0.35, okay? So if we had, it's a little more interesting, so we had 7 over 100. This is where you could make mistakes if you're not careful. Again, put your decimal point in. Again, think to yourself, do we have any whole number here? No, we don't. So we can put in 0. So it's 0 point something. Now we're looking at how many hundredths we've got. We don't have any tens here. We're going to get 7. So we can put our 7 hundredths in the hundredths column. But that means there's nothing in the tenths column. So show that nothing by putting a 0 in. Okay, so if you only get a single digit number over 100, you must be 0.0 something. Okay, so you can try that one out. Now then, let's have a look at part C, where you've got to write down how many pennies you have from these amounts of pounds and pence. So again, let's make some space. Okay. This is something you probably do for quite a while, but you might not have thought of it as actually using decimals before. Okay, make that a little larger. So let's take, let's go for number 4. So number 4 says £0, 85 pence. So 85 pence written as pounds and pence. So how many pennies do you have? Well, if you think of this as units being pounds, and if you think of your tenths and your hundredths as being your pence, £0.85 equals 85 pence. Okay, easy peasy. Let's say you had something like this. What should we have? £4.93. So you would have how many hundredths? Your units is hundreds now, okay? So you'd have 493 pence. Pretty straightforward, pretty easy, okay? When you go to part D, you're just doing the opposite. So let's say you started with something like this, 137 pence. You'd have to write down how many pounds and pence, pound sign, decimal point ready. Your check is, do you have anything in hundreds? Let's check it. What do we got here? So we've got 137. So the 100 pence in a pound means that you've got £1. 37 pence left over, £1.37. And if we take another one, let's say we go for something like 64 pence. Again, pound sign ready, decimal point ready. Have you got any hundreds? No, so it's 0. We do though have 64 pence, so 64 hundredths after this point. Now then, let's go back a stage again, because I want to look now at the number line. Okay, so let's scroll that up. Let's bring this down. Let's see if we can make this a little larger here and bring it over the page there. Right, okay. So we can have a little bit of room to work. Now then, okay, it says here on part E, write to which decimal number the arrow points. So when you get something like this, and you see your number line, and you think, well, there's no numbers on it. We've only actually got, haven't we? We've got 0 over here, and we've got 1 over here. So your first job here is to actually count, well, what is the line divided up into? Let's have a quick check. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Excuse me, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So our number line has been divided up into 20 parts. Okay, make a quick note of that for the moment. It will be useful. So that means the halfway mark will be half of 20, which is 10. Okay, so 10 is halfway. So we make a note here. If that's the halfway mark, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's halfway. So this halfway mark then is halfway between 0 and 1. So what's half of the difference between 0 and 1? It's a half, or 0.5. That's very useful for us, because now we can work out what the other numbers actually mean. So if this is 0.5, well, where's 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, and 0.6, 0.7, 0.8, and 0.9? So let's find them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we've got 10 marks, and we need to divide that into 5 numbers. So 10 divided by 5 is 2. So if we go every 2, 1, 2. So that would be 0.1. 3, 4. 0.2. Is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? 0.3. 6, 7. So 5, 6, 7, 8, sorry. 0.4. So what have we got so far then? So 0.1 is here, 0.2 is here, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5. Okay, so if we just carry that on, every 2 then is another decimal point in tenths. So 0.6, 0.7, 0.8, 0.9. Then we got 1. Well, that 1 actually then, if you were to show the decimal, could be 1.0. Okay, so it's almost like if we took the decimals away then, isn't it? Counting from 1 to 10. Okay, let me just change colour to green. Now then, if we look where the arrows are pointing, let's see. Well, number 1 is actually pointing at 0.3, so that's easy. Where are the others pointing? 0.4 is actually pointing at number 4 is pointing at 0.8. That's easy. But number 2, number 3, and number 5 are not pointing at these numbers. So we're going to work them out. So here is number 2. Now it's pointing at a number halfway between 0.4 and 0.5. So if you thought for a moment, let's just change that 4. Let's imagine it was actually 40 instead of 0.4. And let's imagine this 0.5 was actually 50. What's halfway between 40 and 50? 45. So what we've got here is actually 0.45. Okay, 4 tenths and 5 hundredths, or if you think it's 45 hundredths. So I'd like to see now if you can work out what number 3 is, which is halfway between 0.6 and 0.7. I want to see if you can work out what is number 5, which is halfway between 0.9 and 1.0. Okay, quite a long video. Have a go at that, please. Okay, check on your remote learning plan to see which parts of this sheet you should be doing. Okay, thank you.